Hi, I'm Chris Grimm, and this is Deep Work Fast. Every week, I post a blog, a short read with a tool, an idea, or a concept, and then I follow up with a short 20 minutes or less video like this, walking through the ideas that go along with this topic and really coaching you so that you can apply this learning in your life immediately so that you can be the best that you can be in all the roles in your life at work and at home. So let's get started. This week, the blog is called Embracing Neutrality, the Path to Emotional Freedom and Balance. And I want to add to that link to the blog is in the chat right now. Thank you, Heather. Grab it, read it later. Let me just give you a quick intro. I am not going to tell you what's in the blog, nor am I going to say the same things over again that you can read later. I'm going to give you coaching right now so that you can apply this. So beyond emotional freedom and balance, let's get maybe a little bit more practical than that. And I want to talk about what neutrality is and why I believe and I practice and I urge all of my clients when they're ready to move towards understanding neutrality, when and how to use the neutrality to not only help yourself, but the other people around you. So first, let's talk about what neutrality is, specifically in the context that I'm talking about. So if you think about what happens all day, every day, is that we're having conversations with other people. At work, most likely, you're having conversations, a lot of them that are about topics, past topics, future topics, issues in your business that are normal because they're a part of your business operating cadence. And you probably have opinions about them. And the stronger our opinions are about things, often we have emotions that get attached to those thoughts. And that's normal and healthy. And sometimes it's good. And sometimes it's not great. And the reason I say this, and I'm not trying to take away emotions. So, what I'm not doing in saying embracing neutrality is asking you to not have emotions or not have strong feelings about things. I want you to be passionate. I want you to care deeply about your business, your customers, the people around you. And at home, I want you to care deeply, of course, about your family. And I want you to have intense feelings about some things because that's life. And we want to experience life. I want you to have moments of incredible happiness. I also want you to be so passionate about things that maybe sometimes you get upset or angry when they don't go your way. I don't want you to let those emotions take over to the point that you are not in control of yourself or that you're trapped. Hence my reference to emotional freedom and balance is because when I'm coaching people, often, whether they're a high performer or someone who's having problems, it's kind of the same, right? We as humans get so wrapped up in the stories that we have about what should be or what we want to happen or what we need to happen. And whether that's true or false is not really what I'm talking about today. I'm talking about the feelings you have and how you express them in relation to the things that you care about the most. And what I find is that in both home and work, when I'm coaching, I hear a lot of stories, and when things aren't going our way, which life tends to kind of throw at us, right? The life is complicated. Your work probably is complicated. Your home life might feel complicated too. Decisions to make, hard problems to solve, things happen. And of course, what that does is it triggers our emotions to often show up and be expressed. And while that is healthy for you to express those emotions, sometimes it makes it so that you're making decisions from a place of intense emotion instead of real calm and clarity, right? So it can hurt your judgment, right? It can make you do things in a rash, maybe with a false sense of urgency. It can make you say things that you regret. Sometimes our emotions our emotions, when expressed in a way that is too intense, can make it unsafe for other people to participate. And those things that I just listed, well, that's not you at your best. And it also can feel bad and create kind of a chain of reactions that most likely you don't want, oftentimes ending in broken relationships, conflict, a lack of trust. Maybe your credibility gets damaged in the process, or worse, at home. You could have dysfunctional relationships or relationships that are not repairable, irreparable. Anyway, so I want you to first understand what neutrality is, and not the word. Like, you could look that up in the Webster's Dictionary. But I'd love for you to just do a little exercise. So if you have pen and paper or pencil and paper or not, that's fine. If you use the notes section on your device, you could certainly do it there. But I want you to ask yourself a few questions. And this is something in coaching that I would ask you if we were sitting together. One is, do you know what your neutral feels like? If you don't, you might try to create, sometimes people call them an emotional meter or something. So pick a strong emotion, maybe pick frustration or pick anger or pick excitement. Pick it. And then what I'd like you to do is, on the paper, draw a line and put a 1 on one side and a 10 on the other one. So make a continuum. It's our emotional meter for that emotion that you just picked. Let's use anger, because that is something that I have seen with my clients that show up in their home and their work, because we can't help it. Sorry, I need to get some water. So let's assume that neutral, probably without you being intentional, doesn't live on that line. So the way we start to figure out what neutral feels like is to first ask ourselves the question about, if this is the line of anger, 1 to 10, what does 1 look like for you when you're just a little angry? And then work yourself all the way up to 10. It's oftentimes easy for you to do this if you work on the extremes first, and then we can go into the middle. So you say 1, here's what that feels for me at 1. Here's what I might be saying and doing if I'm anger level 1. For me, it probably means I'm frustrated, I'm annoyed, but I'm not full on 10, right? 10, I'm really angry. And if I'm a 10 angry, by the way, and I'm going to express that, this is the important thing I want you to think about. My insides are having sensations. Maybe my neck gets hot. Maybe my whole face is hot. Maybe I feel like I'm going to cry. This is my version of 10. If I get to a 10, most likely too, I'm saying stuff. I'm not able to not say whatever it is that wants to come out of me. And I'm probably not doing it very articulately or eloquently. And that's my 10, right? So that's me just describing to you what my 1 and my 10 are. So then I have to ask myself, is there a middle? And is the middle on the way to being supercharged? Or is it actually somewhere where I'm in control of myself, where I can feel that feeling without having to express it to everybody around me or demonstrate it to everybody around me, like to actually people even know if I'm at a 5? And that's going to help you start to define my real question, which is, what does neutrality feel like? Because if I know what the range of an emotion feels like, I can start to understand about myself where my escalation points are and where my de-escalation points are. So if I can catch myself down in 1, 2, 3, or 4 before I go over the top and start expressing and showing anger, most likely some of my own internal neutrality is down there. Can I be objective? Like, is that what keeps me down low or can get me off this continuum completely? And so then I ask myself, when I'm objective, am I neutral? What does it feel like when I don't have a strong emotion about something? Does it mean I don't care? Or does it mean I can just see both sides of the issue? And because something doesn't impact me directly, I can kind of live with it there. So I want you to really ask yourself that. You might go down another path if you took some time to take some notes. And I hope that you do. Maybe even journal a little bit about it. What does it mean when I'm neutral? On what topics am I neutral, or am I able to be neutral? And are there patterns here? And then the second question is really important that you should be able to ask yourself. Does neutral mean I don't care? And are there any topics at work, at home that I truly don't care about? And is that something I learned maybe in my home? I'll tell you something. I come from an Italian family. And on my dad's side in particular, neutral really wasn't accepted well, right? You were supposed to have an opinion and a voice and be passionate about things. People yelled at each other at the dinner table, not because they were mad at each other, because that was the way we communicated. Voices were loud. And so in that context, I grew up in a place where neutrality was something that other people looked at as not okay, like that wasn't acceptable. And it might be like that for you in your own home or in your workplace. And I really want you to think about that. And if you are a leader or a manager of people, I want you to think about, do you allow neutrality? Like, are you okay with people who don't come with strong opinions and don't express those strong opinions? Are you the kind of leader who wants active debate? Do you get bored with your team or think they're checked out when they are demonstrating neutrality? You should really learn that about yourself, because it is in our ability to be neutral. And this is what I want to get to the third question in a minute, but say this to you. I'm not advocating for pure neutrality all the time and no emotion. I am saying you should be able to get there so that you can demonstrate to the other people around you that, one, you can create a space for listening. You can hear opinions and maybe facts and information that you didn't have before, that you are willing to say that maybe you're wrong, right? You don't have to be right all the time. And by coming into a situation and shifting into neutral and saying, you know what, I'm not going to drive this conversation. I'm not going to try and sell everybody on my opinion. I'm not going to demand that we move forward in the way that I believe is right. We're going to create some space. I'm going to shift into neutral and I'm going to let everybody present their ideas about this. I want everything to be heard for a certain amount of time. Then we can determine the best way forward. And it's in creating that safety, that space for everyone to participate without strong emotion, that you start to get the best from others and yourself. And the reason is because if you think about, like I said, back to normal life, most places and families are not running like this. They're running off of stressed out people trying to get things done. And like I said, highly attached to outcomes. And so they have emotional attachment also. And then when we don't get what we want, we get upset. Or worse, we get upset and maybe we don't say it to people, but the politics around us allows us to manipulate, talk bad about people, create doubt in the way things are moving forward because it's not moving forward in our way. That seems to be the way oftentimes people are operating because they don't know how to create more space earlier in the process to actually hear all opinions and ideas and then formulate a way forward that everyone's bought into. And I will argue all day long that you as a leader or you as a parent or a team member are better when you can take those emotions that you have and modulate them. Like I said, shifting into neutral is the only way I can think about it, because I actually did learn how to drive on a manual. I know that that doesn't exist really for a lot of people anymore, and so that doesn't happen. But I do think understanding that there are different gears is an important way to even think about yourself. And like I said, what the world is experiencing often is not just the words we're speaking. So you might be the smartest person and you might actually have the right answer to whatever this topic is. But the other people, they might need a little bit of space, and sometimes they need a little convincing. And going at it with strong emotion and strong opinions is going to push them away further. It creates more resistance. And so by you shifting that gear and coming into a place of neutrality, you are more calm. You are speaking from a space that is more clear, because when we're calm, we actually think differently, and then we can choose our words more carefully. We can pace ourselves. We can slow down. We can create safety for other people to ask questions that they would not ask if you're moving fast and you're hot and heavy about it. No way. No way. There are just some people who are never going to do that. The more introverted people are, the less likely they are to stop you if you are an extroverted, highly expressive, and really intense leader. People aren't going to spend all the energy to stop you all the time. Sorry, 28 years of coaching, I'm just speaking truth. So I want you to be the best that you can be. So I'm hoping this is resonating with you. I am hoping you want to be at your best, and that you have noticed in the workplace and your home that when we can neutralize some of those super intense emotions and learn how to talk about them, not spray them onto everyone, that you are going to actually get better outcomes. Most likely the ones you want, because you'll get all the people around you bought in instead of you having to kind of pull them up the hill later. I hope this is helpful. There's a link to the blog in the chat. Please grab it. It's a 2-minute read. If you want more, you know where to find me. And I will see you next week here on Deep Work Fast.